Greetings. I am Dr. Julie Esparza Brown and am a professor in special education. I have almost 35 years of experience as a public school and university teacher. This three-part webinar series is dedicated to parents of multilingual learners with disabilities. These sessions are sponsored by New York City Arborn at Fordham University and Language Arborn at New York University. These parent webinars are titled Working with Special Needs Students Remotely. There are 3 in the series. The first one is using universal design for learning during remote instruction. The second is your children's social emotional needs. The last in the series is reading with your children. We hope you will see all 3. Today, I will be sharing with you ways you can support your children's learning at home during remote instruction by using the Universal Design for Learning framework. You know your children best. If they need instruction to be different, you must advocate so your children get what they need to learn. You are a teacher too. Since March, everyone in our country has been learning how to work and learn differently. Schools and teachers have been asking you to do more and to support your children while learning at home. You may be thinking that you are not a school teacher and do not know how to help your children with their schoolwork. However, as a parent, you have always been your child's first teacher. Remember, whenever you have questions or concerns, reach out to the teacher because you are partners in your children's education. You can call, text, email, or video chat with them. Make sure the teacher knows the way you prefer for them to communicate with you. As the parent, if you see your children are having difficulty with certain assignments, ask the teacher to use the Universal Design for Learning or UDL framework to make the content more understandable to your children. Teachers know about UDL. We want you to know what UDL is so that you can communicate your children's needs with your teacher. We will define and give examples of what UDL is in the next slides. UDL is an approach to learning that allows different ways for students to access material, show what they know, and engage with learning. Why UDL is important. In this slide, you'll see 3 pictures of children watching a soccer game. In the first one, each child gets the same support, but one of them still cannot see the game. We call this equality, where all children get the same supports. In the second picture, each child gets what they need in order to see the game. We call this equity because each child gets what they need. But in the third picture, all children are able to see through the fence. We call this accessibility or removing barriers for all children. This is the idea behind Universal Design for Learning. The UDL framework includes 3 big ideas: multiple means of representation, or multiple ways for students to gain information, multiple means of action and expression, or multiple ways for students to show what they know, multiple means of engagement, or make learning relevant to each student. The UDL framework can also be applied to remote learning. In the next slides, we will go over each of the three big ideas. Here are some examples of multiple means of representation that show how instruction can be tailored to each student. They can be taught to highlight important information, hear oral lectures instead of reading text, watch videos of content instead of reading the material, use screen captioning so students can read, watch, and hear the video. Use graphic organizers to help students remember what they are learning. Look at the picture labeled KWL. You can make a chart like this with 3 columns. In the first one, ask your children what they already know about the topic. In the second column, ask them what more about the topic they want to learn. Use the third column after they have finished the book or assignment and ask them what they have learned. Here are some examples of multiple means of action and expression that show how children can use different materials and technology to learn, and different ways to show what they have learned. They can use a screen reader so that the computer reads aloud when the student types. Use whiteboards and markers instead of papers and pencils. Work together with a peer. Use real objects. Or enlarge the font on the screen to make it easier to read. Here are some examples of multiple means of engagement where what your child is learning is meaningful and relevant to them so that they are motivated to learn. They should be taught with material that has culturally familiar content, be given the background knowledge or the information that they need to understand the content when it is not familiar. Instruction should build on their strengths and interests, and they should be provided structure when needed, such as setting a timer for a work period, then getting to play or exercise as a break. Content and materials need to link to students' lives, interests, and experiences in order to motivate them to learn. Remember, you are your child's best advocate. If you see that they do not understand their instruction or they get bored, talk to your teacher about using the UDL framework. Thank you for supporting your child.